Thank you for coming on. Since this report came out Friday, you say you're not happy with what you're hearing from most congressional Republicans, which you say is not much. Tell me what you want to hear from the other side of the aisle.
Well, let me start with a positive. Senator McCain and Senator Graham, both on the Armed Services Committee in the Senate, have taken this very seriously. They want an investigation. They want to look into it. Too many other Republicans in the House have been completely silent on it. And, of course, the president-elect has dismissed it. And the important thing here is this goes beyond our election. This is what the Russians have been up to for some time, and it's been well documented. What they're trying to do and what Putin is trying to do is make the world safe for autocratic dictatorships. And towards that end, he is trying to undermine liberal democracies. This is a major battle. It's not just in the U.S. They've been implicated in the Brexit vote in Great Britain, in the vote in Italy that led to the fall of the government. Russia is trying to undermine democracy and freedom because they think that their model of an autocratic dictatorship is the better way to go. China is up to some very similar stuff. This is sort of the defining national security struggle for us in dealing with Russia and China. So I hope we get away from the politics of Republican versus Democrat and take this seriously as a national security threat.
And some critics say that the report that was released to the public was thin, that much more information is being kept classified. The former head of the CIA told CNN he's also disappointed, but that some things must be kept secret. Do you agree with that, or do you want to see more? Do you think more should be released?
Absolutely. I served on the Intelligence Committee directly for a couple of years as ranking member on the Armed Services Committee. I'm an ex officio member of the Intel Committee, so I've dealt a lot with the CIA and with intelligence. And what they want to protect is their sources and methods. They don't want to tell the world how they know and how they found out, because then the bad guys, in this case the Russians, will know what we know and they will try to get around it next time. But it's been very well documented in the press the way the Russians have used their government agencies. They've used criminal organizations and hackers simply to take advantage of what cybercrime can give them. Because look, Russia has an economy that is in collapse. They don't have a lot of money, but this is cheap. Cyber crime, the fake news stuff that they've done, their efforts to undermine the alliance, and what Mr. Trump said during the course of the election about how he didn't think that the U.S. should be, as invested in NATO, shouldn't be, as invested in the rest of the world, was music to their ears. They want to see those alliances fall apart.
I want to just get your reaction to what Donald Trump has said about this and what he recently tweeted when he said Julian Assange said a 14-year-old could have hacked Podesta. Why was DNC so careless? Also said Russians did not give him the info. What is your reaction to that? I mean, the implication
is that
the DNC sort of brought it on themselves.
No, it's irrelevant. I mean, Julian Assange, they make a big deal at WikiLeaks about saying they make a point of not knowing where they get their information from. So for him to come out and say he knows it didn't come from the Russians just makes him out to be the liar that he is. And a couple days ago, Donald Trump said, I don't like Julian Assange. Whoever implied that?
But Julian Assange aside, more about, he's basically pointing at the DNC. And we've heard other Republicans say this, that the DNC sort of made themselves vulnerable by allowing themselves to be hacked.
That is hardly the most important point. I'm sure that is true, that the DNC made it easier for Putin and Russia to do what they did. But for the Republicans to focus on that is ludicrous. This is the president-elect. A foreign power interfered with our country to affect the election. I think that foreign power's interference is what we should focus on. I don't know that much about cyber stuff, but I'll go ahead and say, sure, the DNC was careless. But the important point is what Russia is doing, not just to the DNC, but all around the world, undermining the alliances that have kept peace and stability in the world for the U.S. ever since World War II. The European Union, the different groups that we have formed, the alliances we have. Russia wants to see that crumble, and I hope we can get past the partisanship. Look, I saw your earlier guest say that Democrats are always complaining because they can't get over that they lost the election. Well, I, for one, am over it. Donald Trump won. He's the president, okay? I hope he does the job. I hope he stops worrying about how this makes his election look and worrying about what the Russians are trying to do to take away the very freedoms that so many Republicans claim to hold dear.
All right.